Good morning. Good morning, YouTube. Setting up Facebook. I literally forget from day to day. I think I've said this before. If I remember everything for YouTube and what to do, then I forget on Facebook what I'm supposed to do. And I just remember. So let's get it set up in my fancy studio. Working on hydrating. And here we go. Well, thank you, YouTube, for being so patient. I really do appreciate it. And almost got things set up in my fancy studio. And I do mean fancy because I'm literally setting up Post-its to leave my phone on. And I have enough Post-its for the rest of my life. Okay. So, good morning, Facebook. YouTube and I have already been going. So it's nice to see everybody this morning. I do have to start off saying thank you and forgive me for not being here. Last time we did a live was on Christmas Eve, and I will tell you quite honestly, my day did not go like I planned for it that morning. And so it's been an interesting time to navigate through the holidays. And you guys know I'm a journaler, and so I've had a really hard time finding joy, and I've also had a really hard time just focusing in on what it is that I need to do for myself, for my mom. And this entire time I've been saying, God, I know that strength and will and determination all grow through hardship. It's been a really hard season, and I know it has been for everybody. We've all been in the same boat with the whole pandemic. But for me personally, not only have I been navigating the guardianship with my grandkids and the transition of mom and dad coming back into their lives full time, but along with that, navigating my dream job that I just feel like it was exactly what I wanted, and I just put it out there. I told the Lord what I wanted. I didn't know if it existed, but God made a way, and it really has worked out, and it has been such an incredible blessing that they've given me this time, that they're letting me develop my position, really. They've never had an educational therapist before on staff, and so they're asking me, like, they're changing everything because they feel that children need face-to-face education, and I do too. I mean, not to say that we can't use technology, but there's nothing like facing someone one-on-one. Okay, so along with all of that has been navigating my mama getting older, becoming extremely forgetful. And right now, I'm really trusting God, and I'm asking you, my community, to pray with me and believe with me. But what I am gonna ask you guys is if you would just do your best to keep your opinions to yourself, and what I mean by that is if you wanna encourage me and have encouragement or even have experiences that you've been through with your loved ones, or maybe you've worked in a group setting before, but I'm learning a lot because, back in the late '80s, I worked in a group home. I worked for adults that were, um, had significant disabilities that they could not live on their own. Most of them had grown up in either group homes or institutions, and now they were, I think our youngest resident was 22, all the way up to we had some residents in their 60s. I did not realize that a board and care home or, a nursing home, not like a facility, but just a home, is for the elderly is no different than a board and care or a group home for younger people. There's no medical staff, and I just learned this yesterday, and I didn't realize because they're very, very expensive, and you guys know that my mom has been at home. We've been together, this April will be 24 years. And so the idea of putting her in a nursing home, it's just not it's not something I wanna do. She did live for 5 months, in what is assisted living, uh, but she walked on her own. She didn't even really use a walker then. She had a wheelchair that she would just push around, and she would sit down when she got tired. Um, but for the social butterfly that she's always been her whole life, it was a great experience for her 'cause it was only 28-bed home, 2 stories, and they had a full medical staff, but it was very, very expensive, and what I didn't realize was they don't have to have a nurse, they don't have to have a doctor, um, and so if I can care for her that well at home, isn't it better? And I think I shared with you back before she got sick that I really dealt with the just that do I take her to the hospital and expose her to COVID, or do I keep her at home and try to get her treated here? Um, it's just been a hard dilemma, and I'm just gonna tell you right now that unless you have something positive to share, I your opinion of the situation is none of my business, and you can just keep your opinion. What I have realized is it caring for the elderly is a business like any other business, and the care that my mom has gotten has been good. Has it been the best? I don't think so. Um, I think she has lost significant ground since she's been sick. You know, the EMT drivers, as they were leaving on December 5th, they told me there was nothing you could do differently. You have taken very good care of her. And I know that in my heart, and I also know that I do everything that I can to make her comfortable, and it's been one thing she's said this entire time that she's been in the hospital is, "I just wanna get back to my beautiful room." And it makes me happy that she feels that way about her bedroom, and she does have a really nice she really has a master suite, with her own bathroom, her own walk-in closet, right off of our family room because the way this house was built, there's 2 master suites, and it's been perfect. But I am gonna probably have to hire help again, and, you guys know that Ripley, my youngest daughter, was at home with her, and out of 5 years of her working at home with her, she really only got paid for doing it for 3 years. I mean, I did what I could, like pay for her phone and maybe give her gas money for taking her to and from doctor's appointments, But it wasn't until we were able to get the VA to agree to start giving my mom some survivor's benefits, 'cause, her her last husband was a veteran of foreign war. He did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, and so, you know, out of how much she's done in her life and how much helped, I figure that whatever she has coming to her, we're gonna get. Well, it ended up being over a year of battling, uh, with bureaucratic red tape in order to get those VA benefits. Well, what happened before the pandemic was, as she was getting, Social Security raises, and we were having to prove more and more that she needed the entire amount, which is not very much. In those days, it was $1,100 a month for the spouse. Um, and we never did get approved for the whole amount. And for some of you, you might be saying, well, she probably could spend that much in copays on medicines a month. Copays on insurance don't count. There's a very small window of expenses, and what it was before COVID was the money was to keep the parent, the loved one, in the home, and to be able to have a little bit of extra money to make sure that they were comfortable and have the things they need. You and I both know $1,100 a month wouldn't even pay for a nice apartment, really, at least by yourself. Okay, so that doesn't matter. I've never minded helping in any way I could, because she certainly helped all of us, my siblings as well, and they all know that she did not plan for this time in her life. She lived very much in the moment and had 6 kids, and it didn't matter how old those 6 kids were. She felt that it was her responsibility to care for those children, even if it was making a car payment or keeping the electricity on, or just any of those things that we as adults have all probably faced at one time or another. She never wanted her children to struggle, and that I applaud her. I love that for her. I love that she loved all of us that much. And honestly, her and I had a really good conversation yesterday, and she knows that I grew up with her raising my kids. Um, their dad was very much there, but she was another mother to my children. And so for my kids, this has been like slowly letting go of another parent. And I know for for my children, it has been as painful as it has been for me, because like even in their circles, their friends and their loved ones may not understand the depth of relationship that a lot of people have lost their loved ones during COVID. And you guys, we were getting pretty close, feeling very prepared. She was begging before Christmas to go home to be with my siblings that have already passed away, my 2 older siblings, and to be with her parents for Christmas. And I'm just sharing this with you because maybe some of you have been in just that deep, vulnerable place where you felt like nobody understood, and no matter what anybody said, it just didn't come across right, at least not to you. And it has a lot to do with the way I'm framing things. And I realize that I woke up yesterday morning with a resolve, and I've told you before that I feel like the Lord really speaks to me in my dreams. And the resolve yesterday was good. However, the situations in the hospital have changed on a dime. So, what I mean by that, and right now, I'm not blaming any medical person. I think you guys are rock stars, all of you. Um, those that are just companions. Companion care is huge. I've looked all into it. I'm learning things about Medicare I never knew before, and just starting to get to a point where I am like, what is happening with our elderly, and why? isn't there more out there for them? And grandparents, young grandparents like me, you guys better plan. Plan for that rainy day. Is what we shared with my son yesterday is that, since we've been taking care of our grandkids, we've dipped into our retirement. And since we've been caring for my mom, we've dipped into our retirement. And if we don't stop and just start working on what it is in our future, my children will have this. And I don't want this. I want it to end now. My mom worked so hard her whole life. She should have absolutely every comfort that she needs now. And that's how I feel about every elderly person. Every person out there deserves the absolute best comfort and to leave this earth without fear, without trepidation, to know that, well done, good and faithful servant. It's time now to enter into the fullness of God. And I want her to be comfortable. So, you know, um, I might make decisions that don't make my siblings happy. I might make decisions that don't make other people happy, but I have to do what I know I can live with and what I can look into her eyes and say, I did the best I could, Mom. And I'm not settling. I'm not just going to settle for what people are telling me. And I maybe I got too pushy. I don't know. I try not to be, and I tried to give the people in the facility where she is the grace that I need because I'm coming from not knowing and not knowing what to do, and I'm asking for answers, and I'm navigating this the best that I can. And so right now, I'm asking you, my community, if you would just pray with me and help me to just do the best possible thing for my mom. I wanted to also get on here and remind you about the Goal Getter Challenge that Dave is starting. Dave Hollis is starting on January 4th. He has started a Facebook group. Go look for it. Hashtag Goal Getter, Goal Getter Challenge. That's the Instagram hashtag. Uh, the Facebook group is I'm not sure what the name of the Facebook group is, but if you search for Dave Hollis on Facebook or on Instagram, you'll be able to find him. The name of his book is Get Out of Your Own Way. He's going to be going through the book. You don't necessarily have to get the book or read it. There are excerpts of it on YouTube. I have the audio version. That tends to be my preferred way, especially if I'm going to be reading a book more than once, that I will like to listen while I'm doing other things. But, do what you got to do. He's just going to be going through some chapters, and I don't think you need the book. I do recommend it if you tend to be skeptical about just, just being a better human being. Um, he was looking for ways to feel more fulfilled in his life, and it's a skeptic's guide to fulfillment. And so, if you struggle with that at all, it's a really great way to start 2021. I read the book in the middle of the year, not last year, but the year before. It actually came out in 2018. Oh, no, it actually came out in 2019. Apologies. And, um, I say it all the time, leaders are readers. And you might think, oh, I'm not a leader. Who do I lead? You lead someone, whether it's a classroom, whether it's yourself. You might be the leader in your life. Leaders are readers. Read, read, read. Journal, journal, journal. Write, write, write. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Okay, I am currently working on 3 books. Okay, I typically do that. I try to have um, a guilty pleasure, something that completely takes my mind off of everything. And that is my book club book right now. And I would tell you the title, but it's up on my bedside table because I have been trying to instill the habit of praying and then reading something for me for 15 or 20 minutes before I go to sleep. And so, or, taking a hot bath and reading something just for fun. So that's my fiction book, is my book club, uh, which is Jen Hatmaker's book club right now. And I might change, hers costs every month, and I might get rid of that one. Although I've loved every book so far. Uh, my favorite still is The Storyteller's Secret, especially if you're interested in writing a memoir, or you're interested in any sort of Indian culture, Indian the country culture. Um, Very, very interesting. I learned a lot. There was a lot of history in it, but more importantly, it's really about a mom and daughter's journey and why their relationship was the struggle that it was. So, I for a really good, fun read, I recommend The Storyteller's Secret. Um, anyway, so the book that I'm reading is recommended for all of the teachers at my school, which is 13 Things Mentally Strong Parents Don't Do. It's by Anne Marin, and it's raising self for a life of happiness, meaning, and success. And something that I did when I was running the school, and what our staff did is we would encourage the parents as well, we would be on a reading plan. And in those days, we did a lot of John Maxwell books. That's why I've read probably almost everything the man has ever written. But there's an interesting thing about this, because when I was in Texas, I bought a different version of this book to read for myself. And it was 13 Things That Mentally Strong People Don't Do. Now, I know, so now I'm two-fisted. Thank you, Maddie. So it's just, it has that negative thing, which, I say that our subconscious mind does not register the negative word. And so, especially for visual people and visual children, you have to say what you want. And so I would say 13 things mentally strong parents do, and things mentally strong parents don't do. But that's just me, and it's semantics and a little bit of psychology, because I do believe that we were not created to operate in the negatives. We were created to operate in the positives. And because we are highly suggested human beings, I've always figured out from the very beginning that paint the picture of what you want. People always say that always came down to math for me, because math was a struggle when I was a kid. But was math a struggle because I said it was, or was it a struggle because it was a struggle? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying I constantly reinforced that idea that math was hard for me, rather than saying, I have a mind that can do math. It might be a little bit harder, or maybe I have to need to come at it from another approach. But to just say, math is not my thing, I don't do math, me and math don't get along. You see what I'm saying? It's all about the negative framework. And right here, 13 things mentally strong people don't do. So when I got to our principal gave this book out, I was like, okay, samey. So yeah, and just really quick, I want to go through that list of what our friend Amy Morin says, and she's a clinical social worker, psychotherapist, and she teaches at Northwestern. And am I impressed by all of those things? Yes, you know that I am. I think education is paramount, but it's not just a matter of getting those letters behind your name. Is what has that education done? How is it impacting our world? How is it impacting your world? What are you doing with it? And I just been such an activist that I I know that even faith is an action word. Um, and so I just always want to paint that positive image. But so, yeah, it's negative, but let's just look at it really quick. So, the 13 things, and just this is just to do a heart check for yourself and for me. They don't condone a victim mentality. They don't protect. They don't parent out of guilt. They don't make their child the center of the universe because that's not real life. They don't allow fear to dictate their children's choices. They don't expect perfection. It's not possible. We aren't Jesus. They don't let their children avoid responsibility. And I think that's one of those things that I know I've been guilty of. I've sometimes, and I know when kids are little, we might choose our battles and say it's just so much easier if, for instance, toothbrushing, and just get in there and brush for them. But ultimately, we want them to learn. So on a morning when you're not as rushed, you take your time and you teach them that that's their responsibility. But all parents have done it. We do occasionally do it for them, but the idea is trying to teach it, make every moment a teachable moment. It just can be if we use it right. So they don't shield their children from pain, and we're all guilty of that. We don't want our kids to be hurt. And with what painful situations I've been dealing with for the past month, um, yeah, I am glad I'm able to be strong even in the pain, and I know those strong shoulders to cry on, and I'm so thankful because I have a very strong and encouraging husband who's very grounded in the word and can remind me when I need to get my head right, when I need to spend time with myself, when I need to just stop and slow down because I just want things to go go go, and sometimes they don't go go go. Sometimes you have to just wait and be patient. And I'm telling you, ask, it's going to figure itself out. It really will. God is good and He has a plan. And so, even today, that I don't know if I get to bring my mom home or if she's going to a facility, but I do have faith that she's going to the best place because I have been praying ahead of time, preparing that ground ahead of time, getting all the rocks and all the thorns out of the ground and making it good soil. Good soil doesn't just happen. It takes some work too. Okay. They don't responsible for their children's emotions. They don't prevent their child from making mistakes because we know we learn from mistakes, right? Just get back up again. Shake it off, shake it off. Okay. They don't confuse discipline and punishment. They don't take shortcuts to avoid discomfort, and they don't lose sight of their values. So, I encourage you, if you don't have like a family moral compass or a family values or something like that, that could be something to work on right now, um, and go into 2021 with something new. So, whereas I don't care for necessarily content, like I said, I did buy the other book even before this one was presented to me, but our whole entire staff was reading it. Every one of the books has a whole page in it from our principal to all the parents. And so, if for nothing else, it's good knowledge and a good reminder to not let your kids do those things to you. Don't let them whine and cry and make you feel guilty. Um, maybe they just got too much stuff for Christmas and they're being entitled little boogers now. It happens. It happens to all of us. Just try to be the best example you can be and know that you're human. Give yourself grace, give your kiddos grace. And I'm going to be praying for you guys. You keep praying for me. And my son got here with the coffee and he's got his boys up and moving. So I'm going to let you all go and I'm going to ask you to have a blessed day. And I will see you all on Christmas Eve. On New Year's Eve tomorrow. So have a great day. make it fantastic, and like I always say, lead with kindness. Okay? Thanks, you guys. Bye.